Good afternoon, and welcome to Thriving Tuesday, Moments of Encouragement, hashtag veeencouraged, better known as TTMOE at 3. I think I'm having a connection issue on Facebook, so I'm looking to see if I am. Nope, I seem to be fine. All right, well, as you come in, please speak. So that I'll know that you are here. Sometimes the counter is not on target. So, again, welcome to Thriving Tuesdays, TTMOE at 3, and we are here to just talk to you a few moments about the importance of your voice. We are in a season where unless you are under a bridge and you have just not been paying any attention, you know that it is an election season. And there's a lot at stake, and you know that social justice is important to me. And I believe that social justice is spirituality. It is spiritual. It is Jesus. Jesus is a liberator. And so, and came to shake up the atmosphere in the political system as well as in the lives of those who thought they had it all together. And so we are going to periodically during this season say something that has to do with that. Hey, Annie, how are you? I'm glad you're here. And so today we're going to talk about the value of your voice. I think that often in the season that we are in, many people believe that our voices mean very little. And so what I want us to be very clear about is that our voices are important. They're so important that we can't afford for there to be a time when we devalue that which we have, that is the thing that can speak for us. Our voice is, yes, our vote, but our voice is our voice. Many of you, obviously, you're on social media because you're here. And that means that you have the opportunity to use your voice in various ways. I'm remembering the scripture that we're focusing on today, and I'm going to show it to you because I want you to recognize the biblical connection to being liberators for your people, for determining that what's at stake is more important than our silence. And in Esther 14, it says, if you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews, and you can put whatever you want to in there, will arise from some other place, but you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for a time such as this? Well, what is our time such as this? We are in a time when we need to make some determination as to where our voice is and that we want to be heard. There are a lot of things going on underground that are coming to fruition. And if we miss them in this season, we will mess up not only from a socio-political perspective, but from a spiritual one. For liberation of people in its best place comes from those who are upright, moral, and are trying to live this thing out God's way. Don't be bamboozled by folks who call on the name of who you believe in, but don't act in the way that he has taught us to act. Be very, very careful that you don't get caught up in the bamboozlement that is going on in the country right now, where you got folks who are speaking what you think is goodness because they come from a moral edge, but that moral edge is steeped in immorality because it's steeped in racism, it's steeped in sexism, it's steeped in xenophobism. It's stuck in places where we end up getting hurt by it. And listen, if we don't speak up, if we don't have voices that speak truth in this season, we will look up and we will lose the freedoms that we've come to know. Let me stop and say hi to everybody. Hey, Miss Lucy. Hey, Britt. Hey, Lady Clarice. Hi, my joy. But I came today to encourage us in this respect, that if we don't value our voices, no one else will. But if we value our voices, we make others value them too. Let me say that again. If we don't value our voices, no one else will value them. But when we value our voice, we force people to pay attention and to value our voices because they know that those voices mean something. Yes, we're going to get to the ballot box in November, but long before we get to the ballot box, we've got to be willing to put some skin in the game, as they say. We got to be willing to say, I'm not going to allow it to go bad on my watch. I'm not going to not do anything, say anything, be a voice for freedom and for what is needed. I'm not going to be the one who sits silent and watches things happen and then complains on the other side. Let me say this clearly, and you're going to hear me say it a lot more before we get to November. I don't want to hear the voice of anyone on the other side of this election who decided one of two things: either to vote for a way that's going to hurt me, or two, chooses not to vote because you decide that your voice is not important. I don't have space in my life for people who don't understand what their voice means. Am I going to hate you? No. But do I have time for it? No. We don't have any, there's no place for that. So if you can't look at where we are, make a decision and allow your voice to be valued, then don't talk on the other side of it. Just go stay silent. Be silent and stay silent. And then deal with whatever comes our way. But for those of us who have decided that our voices are valuable, we're going to have to use them long before we get to a ballot box. We're going to have to convince some folk who have decided that none of it matters, that it doesn't matter what happens, it's just going to be the same old, same old. That is a lie. It's a lie, and it's a lie. And as I always say, from the pit of hell, that's a demonic stance. Because when we are silent, when we decide that our voices don't matter, what we say is that we don't matter. And I'm not going to stand in this space and in this time and say that I don't matter, because each of us matters. We've got to stand up. We've got to speak up. We've got to let our voices be heard, not just our vote, but our voice. Use this platform for more than just what's going on in your family, what happened today, what spiritual thing somebody threw out there that you thought was so wonderful that you had to say preach, whatever that is. I get it. Do it. Be who you are, but do not stand on the sideline and allow what is trying to happen in this country to happen on our watch and we stay silent. If we do everything we can and it ends up being another way, then we will at least be able to say, I did everything I could to make sure that the value of my voice was heard. I see some people on here today that I know that they are out there with their voices going, with their voices out here on social media. Thank you, Tim McNeil, for being here. Thank you, Dale Dennis, for being here. I appreciate your voices in the marketplace and in churchdom. And while we're dealing with all of the things that are going on in our churches, in our church denominations, with all of the stuff that's coming our way, if we allow ourselves to be snowed, to be put our head under the sand, to only focus on things that are being thrown at us to take us off course, don't think for 1 minute that the adversary doesn't know where we sit. And when there are things that are more important to us than our lives and our livelihood, then the adversary uses that to take us off of our mark, to move us away from what it is that we need to be focused on. Don't be fooled by the distractions. Keep your head on straight. Yes, you focus on Jesus. You focus on the author and the finisher of our faith, but also focus on who he was when he was here. He didn't let people get away with treating people badly. He didn't let people get away with not taking care of those who need to be taken care of. He didn't let them get away with it, and he called them who they were. And it didn't matter whether they were part of the religious order or whether they were just political. He called them for who they were. He said, woe unto you, vipers, scribes, Pharisees, all of those people who were talking mess and taking people's minds off of what was important. Listen, the voice that you have must be heard wherever it is that you find a platform to do it. It may be in your living room. It may be on social media. It may be with your children as you have a conversation with your grown children about what's at stake, because they're being bamboozled on this social media platform every single day by someone who's telling them a lie. And if they can't get the truth from folks they're supposed to trust, then the world will shape their brain, will shape their heart, will shape their soul. So we are called, those of us in Christ, to be representatives of the one who sent us. So be representative. And that means that sometimes we have to get in the business of what's going on in the world. We don't have to be of it, but we are in it. So because we're in it, we've got to get in it and let our voices be heard. I pray that this stirs you. I hope even if you disagree with me, that it will stir you to think and to decide that our voices are too important to be silenced by those who may have more money, may have more power, may have more resources, may have more platforms. When we come together as one voice, as a voice that stands up, yes, for the things of Christ, which includes justice. When we stand up for justice everywhere we go and in anywhere that we have a voice, then the value of our voice becomes stronger. Do I sound passionate? I am. Listen, and I'm going to stay passionate, because if we fool around and miss it, and we've been called to speak up for a time such as this, shame on us. Shame on us. Tell the little ones, because it's their lives that are at stake. So we must remember that we're called to be a voice with value for a time such as this. Don't be fooled. Don't be bamboozled. Know the value of your voice and be encouraged. God bless you. Heaven smile on you. Stay alert. Stay awake. Stay awake. And value your voice. I'll see you soon.